Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to this week's episode of A Fan's View Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jay Ivy, bringing you the best in the world of sports. And I got a special guest with me this week, my boy, none other than Jay Shep, a.k.a. Mr. Opinionated.
In the flesh. What's up?
Good
What's
to have you
up?
on, Shep. I'm just to give the people out there watching a little background. Me and Shep, Jay Shep, used to host and co-host a sports talk show in Cincinnati called A Fan's View. That's where I came up with the name of Fan's View for this podcast. And we had a good little run for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
We
ran
did the
it
show
on.
together, man. Great stuff, great times, great memories, man. And good to reconnect and have you on this podcast. Just talking sports, what we do, what we love to do.
Yes, sir. Remember, it was 88.3 to WAIF. That was
Yep.
the radio station. And we had, I forget the TV station. Remember, we was on TV as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
a little history back. That was years ago, early 2000s, man.
Yeah.
Had a blast. Had a strong 4 or 5 year run, about 5 year run.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
10 a.m.
Absolutely. But, we're going to get into it. And I figured we get into AFC North football because there's some big games in the AFC North this weekend.
Facts.
Couple big games, and that division is starting to get a little tighter than expected. Some little surprises. The way division has gone so far, nobody's really running away with it. But we're gonna get into the Bengals. Our Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, got a big game tomorrow at Buffalo, 4-8, coming off a big win Thanksgiving night against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
I treat this as a playoff game. I think you got to win out to have a chance to win a division and make the playoffs. So I look at it, every game here on out is probably a playoff game, elimination game. Big game for Buffalo as well. They're trying to keep pace with in that wild card hunt. I don't think they're going to catch New England for the division.
Right.
But they're 8-4. So what are your thoughts going into the big game tomorrow at Buffalo? What do you see? Kind of how you think it's going to play out?
Well, honestly, there is a chance. It's funny. I'm saying that because we think the mighty Buffalo Bills. You're thinking Josh Allen, James Cook. I mean, these guys, Khalil Shakir. You're thinking this is the epitome of what the AFC representative outside of Kansas City has always closely been. If it wasn't Baltimore, it's Buffalo versus KC. Well, the tide has turned a little bit this year. The defense for Buffalo was absolutely putrid at times. Yeah, we've given up a lot more. So we are in company with, we have some in common, commonality, especially with the defense. What do I think? Interesting enough, T. Higgins is expected to be healthy. This is a big plus for Cincinnati. And that was kind of a situational considering we didn't have him last Thursday on Thanksgiving. Well, not this past, Thanksgiving Thursday, not having him and having Chase and watching Yoshiva really step up and become that number 3 wideout when we were all hoping that Mitchell Tinsley would be that number 3. I think Yoshiva kind of solidified himself back to say, hey, listen, guys, I know we miss Tyler Boyd, and I know I've had some bad games, but here's where it mattered the most. So I my hats off go to Yoshiva for that. The defense surprised me, and I'm going to say it in twofold, Ivy. First is the switch defensively, which it surprised me and it bothers me because I saw something we seen this in the previous 12 games? 11 games. We mixed up the blitz. Unbelievable. This is the part that really gets to me because I don't know if Al Golden decided I'm going to switch it or did Zach finally come around to it. And I'm going to say this for a reason. Al, when we look at the blitz percentages for Cincinnati per game is usually in the 16th percentile, maybe 16%, 17% that they blitz on the year. Now, we go back to Golden's Notre Dame games days, he was 45 to 50%. He was 50, I think he was maybe 50, 45 to maybe 50% of blitz rate. So obviously in his repertoire, it's always been to get pressure on the quarterback. So to have them get pressure means either Golden stepped up and said, I'm going to do what I want to do, or Zach says, hey, I'm finally going to admit it. What we're doing is not working. We've got to mix it up. So that's the first fold. Second fold, I don't know about you, brother. Lamar doesn't look right.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar doesn't look like the running Lamar, the fast Lamar, who he's to strike fear in defenses. Right now, I don't know if he's still injured or something's going on, but Lamar does not look. I mean, to our advantage, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
But Lamar does not look like Lamar.
Well, he was on the injury report this week. He didn't practice Wednesday. He
Mm-hmm.
went limited yesterday, and that he's having issues with that ankle. You know, he was out for that hamstring a few
Yes.
games, so he's definitely limited. You could tell he's not running. He's not able to escape the pocket. I mean, they were
Mm-hmm.
able to get to him a lot pretty with ease at times, and
Yeah.
that was surprising. And I expected him to run, and he did it a couple times. He took off running, but they kept him contained in that pocket. So he's definitely not right. But like you said, we'll take it. Going back to your point about Al Golden, because I'm glad you brought that up. To me, just from the outside looking in, I don't know if Zach went to him or he decided, hey, I'm going to switch it up. But it looks as if he's starting to trust his players more. I don't know if he
Yeah.
had that trust early in the season because he got a lot of young guys. You got a lot of new players. So maybe now he's starting to trust those guys and he's moving guys around. He's blitzing more. And they seem more comfortable the last two or three, not just in the game against Baltimore, even against Pittsburgh, against New England. They seem
Yeah.
to be a little bit more comfortable. They seem to be in their spots where they're supposed to. You know, you saw that pick six that Geno Stone had against New England. I mean, he was right. You know, he was there where he was supposed to be. They're tackling better,
Yeah.
playing with more aggression. It
Yeah.
just seems to me that they're starting to get more comfortable, and Al Golden's starting to trust those guys more. So now you're seeing more blitzes. You're seeing them mix it up more. You're seeing moving guys around. Now they have a big test tomorrow because you know Buffalo they can run the ball. They have one of the
Right.
best rushing attacks in football with
Absolutely.
James Cook, and you got Josh Allen. So
Yes.
you're going to have to be physical up front and stopping the run, tackling. Josh Allen can still throw that ball downfield, one of the strongest arms, maybe the strongest arm in football. So they're going to have to be disciplined, and that's another issue as well. We've seen them with penalties, playing out of place. So you're going to have to be very disciplined against Buffalo on the road if you want to come away with a victory. But one thing I've noticed about this defense is that they tend to play well and win games when they get turnovers. So that to me, that's going to be the key. Yeah, you got to tackle, but you got to. This defense has to, for me, for me to see them being successful, I think they have to be able to create turnovers. I don't see they're at the point where they can just line up and consistently stop people. That would be nice, but they haven't shown they can do that consistently. So you're going to have to find a way to create turnovers, and Buffalo will give you the ball. You saw last week against when they played Pittsburgh, they had two turnovers early in that game, the first quarter. That
Yeah.
could have changed switched the outcome of that game. So you're going to
Had
have
Pittsburgh
opportunities
had
with Josh Allen to get the ball back. So are they going to be disciplined enough to take advantage of those turnovers?
now at Pittsburgh, that's a very good point you bring up with the Pittsburgh game. Had Pittsburgh had the offense of Cincinnati, that game could have been over early.
Hmm.
And very good points about the rushing attack. So another thing is funny. You said when they get turnovers, how do you get turnovers? You have to take chances.
Hmm.
So our defense, and I'm gonna be honest, the Bengals defense has always been predicated on don't take chances, play safe. Safety means give up long drives and give up many scores. So we were playing safe. So at some point, man, you're 4-8, and to be 4-8 and not be out of the division for the division title is unheard of. But you got to take risks. Unfortunately, this is where we're at with Cincinnati. The money's been spent on off. We can debate whether T should have got paid. We
Hmm.
can debate on what they did with Trey. We can debate on the money they're giving Gesicki. We can debate all we want with that.
Hmm.
End of the day, the money's been spent. Defensively, you have to be young. Golden
Hmm.
was brought in because we have to be young on the defensive side for financial reasons. We can't go in and splurge on defenders. We just can't.
Hmm.
And two, it's not Mike Brown's way. Again, I stated this so many other times before. There's two owners that benefit off of football alone: the Hallis family in Chicago, the Brown family in Cincinnati. This is his cash cow. He
Right.
doesn't have Heinz Kraft and everything. Mike,
Now he doesn't have any other businesses. This is a
no, he
family
does
business.
not.
That's all they
This is
have.
the family. So no, he's not going to. And fans don't understand that.
Hmm.
He's not going to go out and spend all the money that he has. He doesn't have to. So
Hmm.
we have to accept that. Unfortunately, listen, we can complain, we can moan, we can cry about it all we want. End of the day, we know that's not going to happen. So how do you adjust? You have to go young on the defensive side.
Hmm.
Yes, you have to hit on draft picks. You have to hit on development. We've been lacking there.
Mm-hmm.
Understood. So now, if we're lacking in development, what's the next best thing? You have to scheme your way.
Mm-hmm.
So scheme means disguising blitzes. How do we mix up coverage? How do we mix up coverage? How do we go about uh, rushing the passer from different angles? Again, tackling one-on-one drills. Understood. But
Mm-hmm.
understood is when you look at the players, another problem I have, especially when we talk about scheme, is who is scheming off of personnel. Here's my point. Geno Stone. Geno Stone came from Baltimore. Big year when he first came over. He came from like 7 picks that year. Geno Stone was never a tackler. He was never Kyle Hamilton. Those guys are hitters. Geno Stone was he was the free safety. He was a Reggie
Mm-hmm.
Nelson, quote unquote.
Right.
He was a guy who played the free safety. So now, when you play without pass rush, you got to understand how hard it is to guard a wide receiver in the NFL for 7-8 seconds. It's damn near impossible. So therefore, now the defense is getting better. Yes, because they're scheming better. Now
Mm-hmm.
the blitzes are coming from different angles. Cornerback blitzes. We're talking linebacker blitzes. Listen, we're going stunts up the middle. These are different things that we weren't doing earlier. That Chicago game, go watch the Jets game, watch the film. We were very vanilla,
Mm-hmm.
very. And you were getting killed because there was no pass rush. Now you mixed up the pass rush. Suddenly, quarterbacks have Drake May rushing his throw. Geno gets a pick six off a rush throw.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson is contained in the pocket, and he's not rolling out like he was. Yes, they're getting to him. And when they get to him, he doesn't make great plays. What we can do with Josh Allen is force him into mistakes. So how do you do that? Well, first things first, my good friend Ivy, commit to the run.
Mm-hmm.
Commit to stopping the run. You want to force, yes, Josh Allen can throw it, but Josh Allen doesn't have a Zay Flowers. He doesn't have a DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have some of these wide receivers, Rome Dunya. He doesn't have any of those receivers. He has Khalil Shakir. That's his best receiver. 5'10" guy. Yeah. So make him have to beat you. I do love the tight ends. Well, I think one of them's injured. I think it's a Kincaid. I think one of them may be out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's force me to beat me with your B receivers. I'm not going to let Cook just get off. We're going to crowd that line. We may not go zero a whole bunch, but you can drop a safety and cover. We're just going to go man, and we're going to force that line. We're going to run blitz. I'm going to edge. I'm going to stunt. I'm going to keep Josh Allen in that pocket. I want to spy on Josh Allen. So if you're going to use Barrett or one of the other rookies, you just, wherever he's going, you're following. So you spy him, you play the run, and you say, Josh Allen, you got to sit in the pocket and dissect us with B receivers. We got to live with it because it's going to be, at some point, we're going to have to take risks. That's the risk I'm taking. Put pressure on Josh. You know what? You got to beat with the B receiver. You got to make perfect throws all game. And then offensively, that defense is porous. We should have a field day. We should score upwards of 30 points against this defense. So now it's going to come down to 1 or 2 stops. We can get 1 or 2 stops. We can win. We've always had Buffalo's number. Let's go back in history, Ivy, and look at what Burrow's done against Allen. We've always had their number because we understand it. So the last time Buffalo was in Cincinnati, I was at the game. I said, here comes the Josh Allen special. Sure enough, pick. Why? Simple, Ivy, because we game just like Lou was very good at game playing in Kansas City with the Bengals. We game playing well. We match up well against Buffalo. So is this a winnable game? Absolutely. Do we have to win it? Yes. But I'm going to say this. To win out is necessary to an extent. We can lose one and pray that that Baltimore and Pittsburgh split. And remember, as long as we win the division, we've got 1 loss in the division. That's just the Pittsburgh. We win the division now with 5-1.
Go 8-9 and win this division. It's not a question. And you look at Baltimore's schedule and Pittsburgh's schedule. They play each other twice. They're going to be up on each other. And they got some tough games coming up, both of them.
And we still have, like I said, it's not a gimme with that Miami Dolphins team, especially down in Miami.
Right.
But I'll take my chances with the Miami Dolphins, and then Cleveland, Arizona. Those are winnable games, by far winnable. Baltimore's winnable. If Lamar's not healthy, they're winnable. So this is going to come down to the Buffalo game. No, it's not over if we lose this game, but winning this and beating Baltimore sets us up prettier than anybody else, and we may have a really legit shot.
I agree. And I'm going to flip it a little bit to the offensive side because you brought up a good point about the Bills' run defense. They're like 30th or something like that in run defense. Yeah. And Chase Brown and Sammy Pirine, they've been running that rock really well lately. And I got to give a shout out to the offensive line. We've criticized this line over the years. This is the best the offensive line has looked, probably since Joe Burrow has been a Bengal. I mean, the pass blocking, pass protection has held up, and not just with Burrow. When Flacco was in there, they did a good job of protecting
Let,
him, and they're running the football. I
let me let
mean,
me let me interject
yeah.
real quick. I'm 100 with you. I never thought that the line was really that bad. Let me tell you what I understand. And
Okay.
again, the coach in me is schematics.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow, it's got to take some. And I know it's the golden boy. Oh, don't say nothing bad about Joe Burrow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I watched Joe Flacco get rid of that ball and barely
Yes.
get touched. I watched Joe Flacco. I watched Jamar Chase just turn the season around because quick slants, outside, getting rid of the ball. You didn't have time. They were negating TJ Watt. Are you serious? They negated him. You know why? Got rid of the ball. So how many times do we run long developing routes? We're finding out that maybe that's Joe Burrow. What he likes to do, holding the ball longer,
Yeah,
trying
we
to make
can't put it
something
out. We
happen.
like to blame Zach for everything, but Joe has a lot of autonomy in that offense. He can
Yes.
audible and change things up. So it's
Yes.
not always Zach. Sometimes that's on Burrow as well.
And what sometimes too we found out, I'm starting to realize too that maybe Zach is calling plays based on what Burrow wants.
Yes.
Now, trust me, I'm not a huge fan of Zach overall as far as from a team perspective. I feel like he doesn't always have them ready. But
Right.
to be honest, he can't take the majority of. I'm not going to give him all the blame because Burrow's got to take some of that. I
Yes.
watched Burrow held the ball. He got hurt off of holding the ball. Holding the ball. I'm got to make something happen. These are long developing back shoulder. How often does Burrow really use the middle of the field? Not a whole lot. Go back and look at his throws. Back shoulder throws, working the sideline.
Yeah.
Flacco was working the middle of the field with slant. You know, the last time Burrow was working hard, working the middle of the field, we went to the Super Bowl. And the year after that, we went to the AFC Championship game. That's when you saw those Jamar Chase catching those slants and turning them into big plays. Jamar Chase is a running back, basically a wide receiver running back. Give him the ball in the middle and let him go. Instead, Burrow does like what he likes. He likes the back shoulder throws, likes to work side. I understand that. He likes to hold the ball. He likes the routes to be a little bit more developed. I get it. But it's causing a problem. Sometimes you got to protect them from yourself. So, no, I'm not going to put all the blame on Zach. I'm going to look at Joe and say, Joe, if he gets rid of the ball and we get the rhythm going and we're tiring that D out, maybe go a little up tempo. I mean, they're in trouble. Listen, we're going to throw the ball, open up the run game. You give Chase. We don't always have to go from the shotgun. Let's get under center like Flacco was doing. Run some stretch runs, some off-tackle stretch runs. Chase will get downhill. P-Ryan inside. Run some screens off the span.
Absolutely.
There's so many things that we can run that doesn't necessarily screen Burrow throws, but Burrow can be so effective because the threat of what he can do is going to hold those safeties. And now let's run the ball, bring the safeties up, then we go over top. I'm praying that Burrow, the game plan he had at Baltimore, he did a whole lot better. It was a little bit different, but we got to keep it going, and we don't need Burrow to think that he got to play hero ball and win by himself.
Right, and I also think having Joe Flacco on this team, Burrow had a chance to sit back and observe. I mean, this is a guy that's won a Super Bowl. This is a veteran guy. He's been in the league 18 years. I think a guy like Burrow could learn a lot from Flacco and was able to pick up a lot. So now he's like, oh, okay, now I don't have to play hero ball. Now I don't have to, always, look downfield. I, use the middle of the field, and now they have a running game. And I've said this for years. If you give this Bengals offense a running game, man, it's game over. It's game over.
Hey, you thinking the greatest show on turf. Remember back when Kurt Warner had Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, and all them? You know what also they had? They had Marshall Faulk. You know what Marshall Faulk did? Yes. Drew Brees, you know what he's funny? When he had them San Diego, he had LaDainian Tomlinson. So the running back situation, great. I love Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning had Edgerrin James. Joe Montana had Roger Craig. Brady may not have had the quintessential running back, but the passing game was run. Short pass. It became the outlet of his was short passes. It became a running game. So therefore, you had to come up. And when you came up, guess what happened? Now he can work you over top. So we have to have a running game. Whether the running game is nothing more than, I'm sorry, my bad, I'm sorry.
No,
even if the running game is nothing more than quick passes, dump outs, long as you got something that's going to bring those safeties up, because they're going to have to come up at some point and run support. And we know Buffalo is very porous when it comes to the defense. So, especially against the run. So if we come in, Ivy, pound the ball, short screens,
Mm-hmm.
quick slants, bring the safeties up. Then we got a quick double move. You got T. Higgins over the top. We're hurting them. So I'm hoping that this is Zach's game. Zach, if you're listening to me, hear me out. Bring me on staff. I got you, brother. I got you. I'm going to tell you how we're going to attack Buffalo. And I think that we have a legit shot. 3 weeks ago, you couldn't have convinced me of that. But now that like you said, I see them. They're protecting the line more, and the line's starting to show for it. They're starting to get off the ball and hit people. We're running downhill, and we're able to hit people off the run downhill. With that happening, having that, and also having somebody having Orlando Jones not have to be by himself, we're chipping the edges a lot. So
Right.
a lot of good can happen out of this idea.
Absolutely. I like our chances for tomorrow. Big game. I know I'm gonna be tuned in.
And Joe played good at big games. Joe plays good at big games in it. Big game Joe. He ain't no slouch in the big game. So I got a lot of confidence. I know it's gonna be windy, cold up there, but let's not forget. Remember we beat Buffalo in the snow, and then the fans complained that it was snowing.
Ruined their AFC Championship plans.
Yes, and didn't they say, "Oh, the fans were upset that it was snowing"? Excuse me, it's Buffalo. Yeah. You're supposed to have the advantage, right?
Right.
Run the ball. Ryan, let's go.
Right. And all the people out there watching, if you want to subscribe to a Fans View podcast, click on the link below. Get more of this great sports talk that we bring you every week. Switching over to the other AFC North division rivals, Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens. That's a big game tomorrow. Both are 6-6, tied for first place in the division. You know, I can't call it. That game could go either way. Neither of those teams looks really good right now. Both of the quarterbacks are beat up. Baltimore is at home, so I would give the slight advantage to Baltimore because they are at home. I trust Lamar more than I trust Aaron Rodgers right now to pick it up. Both defenses are still playing well. I mean, you know, they're not they're still vulnerable, but they're still playing well enough for them to win games. So it's going to be a very physical, brutal game. I hope they beat each other up. You know, so by the time Baltimore plays us the following week, they'll be, you know, beat up and won't have as much left. But I see that game being very physical, possibly low scoring. Like I said, it's gonna probably be a close game. It could go either way. What are your thoughts on that game?
You know what? Being in Baltimore is where the advantage. Because defensively, I trust Pittsburgh more. I trust Pittsburgh, even though they're older. I trust them more because I was early in the season. Baltimore was getting beat up on the offensive end.
Yeah, they were ranked lower than us defensively.
Exactly, and Lamar was scoring at an incredible pace. But offensively, I trust Lamar more than I trust Aaron. And that offense is average as can be. It's vanilla. It's bland. Baltimore. If I'm going to go pick them. I don't know what the line is, but if I'm going straight up, I'm gonna tend to favor Baltimore. I feel like Baltimore has more weapons on the offensive side, even though quote unquote the Pittsburgh side, Adam Thielen, hooray, hurrah, the old guy ready to leave. We're gonna pick him up for one last hurrah. I like DK Metcalf, but I just don't like Rodgers and Metcalf. I don't think Rodgers is, even when he was in New York, he's not the same quarterback. No. Lamar even beat up is still. Lamar at 60% is better than, to me, Rodgers at 100% at this stage. I take Lamar at 60-65%. So I'm going to go. You're going to think the Derrick Henry situation. Derrick Henry's due for one of those games. This is one of his ground cold, pound the ball inside. This is the game that I believe Derrick Henry's going to have a huge game. And I think they're going to control the ball on the ground. They're going to wear out Pittsburgh. Low scoring, I'm thinking 13-10, something crazy like that scoring-wise. Low scoring, but I'm going to go Baltimore, which is going to set up. We win this and Baltimore win this. We're still 2 back. They'll be 7-6. We'll be 5-8. And so then we get the matchup. We get them. Here we go. Now we're a game out. We'll see where Pittsburgh is at. They play again. We hope Pittsburgh beats them next one. So this could balance ourselves out. So at this point, I'm going to go Baltimore, but the next couple of weeks when they play again, I'm going to root for Pittsburgh.
Right. And interesting, and if you watched the Buffalo-Pittsburgh game last week, a lot of the fans fired Tomlin. And there's a lot of talk. You know, he's been there, 19 years? They've won a playoff game in 8 years. Is it time for him to part ways? I don't see the Steelers firing him. Maybe they come to an agreement to move on. But do you think it's time for Tomlin? Maybe he's ready to move on. Maybe the organization is ready to move on from him.
Well, that depends on Pittsburgh's ready to reset.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, you're not going to go plug another coach in and think you're going to just go to play. You're just not. You're not built for it. You don't have the quarterback. You really don't have the. You're very aged on the defensive side of the ball. Outside of Metcalf, you really don't have much continuity on the wide receiver. You got rid of Pickens. You don't have Johnson. So a lot of issues in Pittsburgh where now to get rid of Tomlin, I can understand it. But they getting rid of Tomlin does not mean you're re-upping what you're doing. You're ready for a complete reset. So Pittsburgh, if you're ready for a reset, a few down years to build up to where you need to get, because Tomlin's going to get you 9-8. But again, just like the Bengals, you're going to be picking it, not going to win a playoff game. You may get 9-8, 8-9. You're not going to get a very good draft pick. And so you're still not going to be able to you really don't have the capital to really trade, nor is it in your DNA to trade to go get a guy who's going to fit what you're doing. So let's be honest. Tomlin is old school, run the ball, play good defense. Plug a quarterback in as needed. At this point in the juncture, and you're playing in a division with Burrow, Lamar, and whoever Cleveland decides to go, and maybe if they go draft another quarterback, at some point, you're going to have to be able to compete with the quarterback. So is it time to move on? I could see it moving on, but Pittsburgh fans, don't fool yourself. If you're moving on from Tomlin, you're going to reset, which is okay, because sometimes the magical run, whatever you want to call all the undefeated, the non-losing seasons, fine. Get some losing seasons. Get some guys in there that you can build a future around and move forward. So I don't believe if they do get rid of Tomlin, I think it would be a mutual parting of the way, but it's got to be a reset for Pittsburgh, and the fans got to be ready for some cold winters up there in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania.
I agree absolutely. And talking about the AFC North, man, this division could look a lot different next year on the coaching scene because there's questions about Zach, possibly missing out 3 years in a row for the playoffs. Stefanski in Cleveland, his seat is hot.
Dumpster fire.
Way he's handled that Shador Sanders situation, quarterback situation. And then some Ravens fans are not happy with Harbaugh. I don't think they'll get rid of him, but there's a talk about, they ready to move on. So depending on how this rest of the season plays out, man, this AFC North could get very interesting this offseason.
Well, the Harbaugh situation isn't too much different from Mike Tomlin.
Yes.
Because again, it's status quo year after year. Yeah, it's. I understand you building around Lamar. You got some good pieces, but unfortunately, injury. But preparedness is not there. The defense isn't what it was, and you got Zay Flowers. You got Isaiah Likely. You got the tight end Andrews. You got Derrick Henry. You invested a lot on the offensive side, but then Baltimore lost the identity that got them where they were, which is defense. So you don't have the Ray Lewis. You don't have Ed Reed. You don't have Terrell Suggs. You don't have what was it? Ngata? What was the nose tackle? Yeah. You don't have those. So now you have a porous defense. Now you're away from everything. And again, offenses sell tickets, defense win championships. So that's the reason why New England is 10-2 or 11-2, and the reason why Denver's where they're at. They have defenses. Again, some coaches want to sell tickets. Some franchises sell tickets. Others win. Baltimore is in the same situation as Mike Tomlin. With Harbaugh, you know where your level's going to be. The ceiling is rare right now. Let's be honest. And the future, you're looking forward to the future. Staying healthy is one thing, but your defense, it's hard to fix the defense overnight. And I know you go get a few free agents, Jair Alexander, guys like that. You don't have the consistent pass rush. So now either you're drafting one or are you going to spend more money trying to get somebody off the trying to grab somebody, or do you make a trade and make a big splash and go after a Max Crosby or something? But at this point, in order to make that happen, you're not going to compete. So Baltimore may have to look back and say, we're in a better position. We may not have to necessarily reset, but a new voice of somebody that maybe the offense works itself. Maybe you go get a true defensive guy and say, hey, let's build this defense, at least be competitive, and then let our offense do similar to what Cincinnati has, maybe not quite as explosive, but maybe it might be time for a new voice where Baltimore's in a different situation. They're more of a new voice come in, we can still compete. Pittsburgh, rebuild.
Right. Speaking of rebuild, talk about the Cleveland Browns. We talked about, the Shador Sanders situation. Report came out today or yesterday that now Deshaun Watson's cleared. So we could see him on the field at some point this season. But it looks like they're going to ride with Shador, at least for the time being. We've already seen Dylan Gabriel. We know he's not the answer. So what do you think going forward? They're probably going to make a change in the offseason. I think their owner's is he's very impatient. So you can see
Yeah,
a new coach, maybe even new
yeah, has one.
GM.
Yeah.
But that quarterback situation going forward in Cleveland, I mean, I like Shador, even though I don't root for the Browns. I am rooting for Shador. I like to see him have success. But that could be a very messy situation going forward in going into the offseason.
Well, with the Shador situation, it's not. I'm gonna tell you why it's not ideal. They're not built around to have the Shador success.
Hmm.
What they're built around, they're not very good on the line, which means a mobile quarterback is going to be a lot better because Shador's a pocket passer.
Hmm.
So you're going to need a guy. You watch Shador; he scrambles, rolls out of time, but he doesn't look naturally comfortable. Where he's
Hmm.
throwing off the run consistently, he's not. So therefore, if you see with Deshaun Watson, I don't know when his contract is up, if it's a year or two. At some point, they're going to have to clear him. So when they clear him off those books, what does Cleveland do? Obviously, Stefanski's on a hot seat. The way he handled this situation, Stefanski, it's his time to go. We
Yes.
understand that. So what do you do? Do you look at a veteran coming in a la Kyler Murray? Do you go get a guy, say, hey, we took the younger, and maybe you keep the younger guys to develop? Or do you say, hey, I'm looking close at a top 2, top 3 draft pick, and you got the kid from Oregon, the kid from Indiana available,
Yeah.
if you think that they're a franchise quarterback. But the only problem with the Browns, you put yourself back into the same problem you were at before.
Yep.
2 rookie quarterbacks can't get it done. Now bringing another one. Bringing another one doesn't answer because you have flaws everywhere else.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand getting a quarterback on a rookie contract. You can build elsewhere. But you gave Myles Garrett a lot of stuff, and Myles Garrett is out there by himself. Him and his defense is playing well, but they don't have an offense to build around.
Hmm.
So if I'm Cleveland, if I'm handling it, number one, yes. Am I getting rid of Stefanski? Yes. It's just time to go. This isn't the time. And you had Flacco, and now I don't know if he got forced to get rid of him or he was forced to use the younger guys quicker just to see what he had in development. And obviously, we all now know that Dylan Gabriel was Stefanski's pick, and now that is not measured out, which means your move at being a general manager just flopped. So now what's next for Cleveland? Well, here's my thing. If you're going to stick with Shador, because again, rookie contract, you keep it Dylan. You got 2 guys on rookie contracts. Okay, they're neither one's a first round, so you don't have that 5th year. You have 4 years. Fine. If you're going to build, if you're going to draft, you're going to have to cut one of them guys, go sign a veteran, and then keep one of the guys. It's going to be even worse. So now you got to figure a coach coming in obviously he may want to get his own quarterback. I understand that. But if you're going to, then number one, you should have been showcasing Shador a long time ago and see if you could get some kind of trade value for him. You didn't. Now you got to go in and say, do we cut one of them? Do I keep? Obviously, you come in, a new coach coming in. Does he like Shador? Well, Shador brings attention. Sometimes that attention takes away from the message that the coach is trying to bring. So Dylan Gabriel, not really a true NFL quarterback. Could we see both of them gone? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
If you got another coach comes in and says, hey, I got a top 2, top 3 pick. I got a quarterback sitting there waiting. If I like him, I'm going to take him. So Cleveland very well could take another quarterback, and we could see a jettison of Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders. Mm-hmm. If Shador were to be kept, again, pressure as soon as this other quarterback, great, but again, people like Shador. So Shador, as soon as you see this rookie go through rookie growing pain, the call for Shador comes. So I'm not confident that if the new coach comes in, Shador may not still be there. So that case, he will get picked up elsewhere. It'll be teams that maybe Shador can better learning under a better quarterback, and maybe him learning not playing behind another rookie who's not as talented as he is. Maybe that's so. But it's all the Brown situation all depend upon if they go with another coach. If go with another coach, he's going to want his quarterback, and he's going to want probably if he's got a top 3 pick, he's going to take one of those guys out of college.
Right. And coming up short on time here, but I think we're in agreement tomorrow. Bengals. I think it's going to be close, but I'm taking them with the upset. I think we both leaning towards the Ravens, even though that game could go either way.
Yeah.
As long as they beat up on each other, I don't care really. But I'm leaning towards the Ravens, and then the Browns
get Lamar
out
of there.
So
yeah. Let's get Lamar hurt. Not hurt. I don't want him hurt, but let's just give him food poison or something. Let's
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So everybody out there watching, if you want to subscribe to a Fans View podcast, click on the link below. Thank you, Shep, man, having you on. It was great to reconnect with you again. We have to do it again in the future.
We got to do this again soon, brother. We need to do it.
We got to reconnect.
I need a weekly segment in there, man. We got to do this because I've got a whole bunch. We've got a whole bunch to touch on. You didn't touch on my Bears, man. My
And
nine
we'll
and
get
three
into
picks.
Bears. We've got into Bears in previous podcasts. We'll get into Bears. They got a big game tomorrow against the Packers, so we'll
Yeah.
definitely be talking about that.
No Roma Juniors neither, so we got to run the ball like crazy, brother.
Yep, that's gonna be a big game. That's another big game I'm gonna be tuned into. A lot of division implications, which way that could shift as far as who wins the division.
Number one
Yep.
seed right now.
Number one seed, right. All right, thanks for joining me, Shep. Thanks
All
to
right.
everybody out there watching, Fans View, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.
All right, brother. Peace out, man.
Peace.
Holler at you later.
All right.